Joined by head coach Pedro Arruza from Randolph-Macon College football. They were picked number 2 in this year's ODAC Preseason Poll. Coach, let's jump right into your offense a little bit here. You've got several guys back, including last year's leading rusher in the conference, and Will McGee. He ran for over 1,200 yards. But you also have your quarterback back who has steadily developed over his first 2 years to really become a great manager of the game for you. Talk a little bit about what you see about those two gentlemen coming into this year.
Yeah, I thought Will had an outstanding year last year. You know, he had a great summer leading up to that year. We used him as a corner when he was a sophomore. He came in his freshman year, had a solid year. He was our third running back. Going into his sophomore year, we had 2 really good running backs and needed some help in the secondary, so we moved him to the secondary, and he did a good job for us there, but we knew he was a better player on offense, and we lacked some depth at running back. So, we moved him over as a junior. We knew he was going to be a pretty good player. Didn't expect to have the year that he had, but, he did a fantastic job. He came in great shape last year, worked extremely hard during camp, was extremely focused, and just did a tremendous job of rushing the football for us. I think he had a great spring. He had another great offseason. I think he's got a better understanding of the offense, a better understanding of, what his role is as a protector, and, not so much just as a running back. So I'm expecting him to have a big year. I think the key for him is to stay healthy and, just to make sure that he doesn't get banged up. But, we're looking for big things out of him.
In the past, the running back position at Randolph-Macon College has been really a two-player position. Is that the plan for this year? Is Will going to be the lead guy coming
Yeah,
forward?
I don't think there's any question about it. I think the biggest question mark that we have going into camp right now is who's going to be that second back. We have several guys in the program that are very talented. We had a good crop of freshmen come in last year, but that's a big question mark. And I think the tough thing about Division III is, you have people asking you about your offensive line. You have people asking you about your running backs and about some of your other key positions on the defensive side of the ball. Because we don't have spring ball and pads, it's very difficult to evaluate guys. So, I really don't have any idea who that second back is going to be. A lot of it's going to depend on who comes back in great shape, who can stay healthy, who can pick up the offense. And, there's a lot of question marks as far as I'm concerned, because we need 2 good running backs back there. And, even a third. I mean, if we have 3 quality running backs, we're going to use all 3.
And what's the plan for your passing game for receivers for Zach to throw to?
I'm really excited about our receiving core. We don't have a lot of guys that have got a ton of experience in terms of catches or, guys that would stand out from a statistical standpoint. But, Christian Cook is back. He had a really good year 2 years ago. Last year, not so much. He was banged up a little bit and had some injury issues that he was dealing with, but he's back. We moved Greg Petrohovich, who's also going to be our backup quarterback, over to wide receiver, so he gives us some size and speed out there. Mike Doe had a great spring. And then we have a host of other guys that I think could end up showing up and really having an impact there. So I'm really excited about that position. We've got great size. We've got probably better size than we've ever had. Those guys can all run. They're strong. Mike Doe, hand cleaned over 300 pounds in the weight room in the spring. So I'm really excited. If we can stay healthy there, I think it could be a special group.
Let's switch sides to the defensive side of the ball. Now, you've got several players back, including really a lot of players back in your front 7. Talk a little bit about what you expect from not only the line, but also your linebackers.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about our defense. We don't have any guys that really stand out right now. We don't have guys that, are big names or statistically are going to stand out. We have a lot of young guys on that side of the ball. And, the exciting thing about that is I think we're going to get a lot better from the start of the year till the end of the year. I think we got a bunch of guys that are really bought in. Some guys that can run around a little bit. And, even though, again, you won't be able to point out a standout here or a standout there, we've got some guys coming in the secondary that I'm excited about. Our linebacking core, I think, is going to be deeper than it's been in a long, long time. And the defensive line is, that's the one position that we do have a lot of experience coming back at. And, we have those guys plus some other guys coming in that I think are going to be good players for us. And some guys that were backups last year that I think are ready to step up and take a bigger role. So, the one thing I always talk about in our program is as the offensive line goes, as the defensive line goes, that's how our program's going to go. We're not really centered around the skill guys in our program. It's all about, the guys up front. It's about the offensive line. It's about the defensive line. And, I think there's definitely potential there, but until I see those guys go through camp, until I see how they develop during the course of the season, it's really hard to predict where we're going to be as a team.
And then what do you see out of your secondary coming in for this year?
We moved Kyle Norton from wide receiver to the secondary. That's a move that, I probably should have made a year ago. Had a great spring. I mean, he's a competitor back there, and, he's a guy that I think is going to bring a new dimension to that secondary. He's just a very competitive guy. He's a leader, and I think we're going to get a big year out of him. We've got Parker Williams back for another year. I think he, showed some flashes last year, but had some rough stretches as well. He was a freshman, and you're going to have some ups and downs as a freshman. And we've got some other guys that are coming in, some other guys who had good springs, and I think it's definitely a question mark. But I like the guys that we have running around back there. I think there's more quality depth. They're better athletes that we have to work with. And I thought they had a really good spring. That's one position that you can't evaluate a little bit in the spring. And, I like the way those guys were moving around in the spring, and I like some of the freshmen that we have coming in. But overall, if you look at our defense, we're going to be pretty young, and, that's exciting. I think young players that are going to get better the entire year, and I'm really fired up about it, to be honest with you.
Your excitement about the defense is probably very warranted if you look at the league and with some of the multitude of styles of offenses we have throughout the conference. And we've seen parity grow over the last several years. I'm talking with Coach Clark a little bit earlier about why a team hasn't won back-to-back titles since his squad's won 5 straight from 2001 to 2005. Talk a little bit about what you see with the parity for this year and what you think can happen, especially with the way the poll is set up right now.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm excited about our entire football team just because of the kind of kids that we have coming back. And I say this every year. We've been pretty talented, year in and year out for the last 6 years. I think, the kind of year that we have, it's going to come down to the chemistry and leadership of our squad. It's not going to come down to how good our quarterback is. It's not going to come down to talent. I think we've got good players. So does everybody else, okay? And that, to answer your question about parity, everybody has good players. Anybody can beat anybody in a given week. So I think what's it going to come down to for us, what kind of a year are we going to have? It's going to come down to the chemistry of our guys, how together they are, how close our team is. It's going to come down to leadership. It's going to come down to how hard those guys are willing to work and what kind of a price they're willing to pay. So, whether it's recruiting or whether it's the way that we build our team every year, it's not just about talent. It's about getting a certain kind of guy into our program, a guy that's going to buy into our system, a guy that's going to be all about the team and about the chemistry deal. And the leadership deal, it's a tricky dynamic every year. But the best teams that I've been a part of as a coach, the best teams that I've been a part of as a player, have always been those teams that have great leadership. And so that's my biggest question mark, and that's my challenge. If the guys that are playing for us are watching this, that's my challenge to our guys, that the better leadership that we have, the better team that we're going to have. Talent's only going to get you so far. You might win 6, 7 games with talent, but when you start getting into that 9, 10 game, 11 game wins, it's because of your leadership.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining us today, and good luck this season.
Yeah, I appreciate it.